by doing this process that you're figuring out something. One of the things that's different about it is that doing everything what we do, and you can practically life. The name of the license matters very little. The big thing is and that is with expressions and exercises. So like I know when it comes down to it, you're doing the same work.
The way you look at life and a little bit the way your brain works.
Okay, some people have done enough. You know how they say the straw that broke the camel's back, or enough is enough. Enough is enough. So this is why I responded to something in this video that's coming up, and yeah, we as human beings are a trip. So there's somebody, and every now and then I share the clip or whatever, and then somebody came back and they put their profile as a black person. I guess they saw my comment on this person's video and they could see that I was a member, right? So then they responded to my video, and the profile picture was a black person, and it was saying, it was downgrading the person that they saw that I had, you know, that you have the little different gifts and the little things you can click when you become a part of somebody's group. So yeah, I know people are watching this and that or whatever. So they responded with a black person, and it said, and it mentioned something about, and you membership with somebody, these people take your money, and then they went on a whole spill of why not to believe this and that. Let me tell you one thing. No, let me express a thing or two. Number one, the person that they're talking about, I have not listened to all their videos. And when I found his video with his wife, his mother, blah, 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 I'm like, yo, it didn't take me long. All I needed to hear was 1 or 2 videos and know that this person is real, because I know who the fuck I am. You understand? I didn't need to listen and listen and listen to everything. If I had the time, I sure would, because he does his homework. The person does their homework. They have done the research and put their neck out on the line. And because of the life I have lived, and I know where I come from, I've heard a couple of videos and a couple of things that they said, and I can feel and I can read and I know. The second thing is, when you say enough is enough, I have children. I have things and seen things and experienced things and believe that manipulation and control and demanding people to be how you want them to be, whether they're jumping up and down, however you tell them to, you know, so their mind is not right, while you owning everything, your pocket's full, and these young people have nothing, while you gatekeep. But you want them to praise you, pick you up, and then they're gonna be swept like dirt under your foot. got them changing their names, all this cult-like mindset stuff. Enough is enough. Anywho, I was listening to a live, all the arguing, fighting, fussing, blah, 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 blah. You know, and I don't go to people and say, you need to think this way about who you are and what you are, and, you know, but I can't say, why do you come to me doing this and that, and why do you come to others doing this and that? Because you're people. You know, we're all people, right? We're all people. But I can protect myself from you, and I can have my voice and speak when I want to speak, not just you. Also, I started out and typed in what I had on my mind to I ask AI, and they gave me back some bullshit, and I was like, oh hell no. So then I took it and I put it in Perplexity. Is what I pay for. I use most of the time is Perplexity. And I changed up the words a little bit, this and that and that and that. And then changed it again after, you know, I got their response, and I was like, no, this is not what I'm trying to say. But what I did want to share with you is, if you don't have a strong mind to think for yourself, you're not going to be aware and realize, like when I first put it in the I Ask AI, it twisted my words to fit a narrative I can hear somebody arguing with me about, like giving their point of view that I do not agree with. So and it's just for me to address a talking point of what my real views are, you know, and it just helps like guide it and stay in line with it. And if it's something I don't believe in, I don't regurgitate and say that, and then I can also get deeper with it with my own mind. You know, like, you cannot manipulate my mind to do that. You'll notice that on other websites too, in another form, where say for example, I haven't used Facebook in a while, but I use TikTok, and they say do this topic, and even around the holidays, they want you to cater to that holiday, you know what I'm saying? So I ignore all that and put in what's in my mind, what's in my thoughts, you know, or just, I don't know how to explain that, but something like that. Like, you gotta have your own mind, even when you're using Chat GPT as a guide to bring about your ideas, your thoughts, your experiences, and things of that nature. I don't know about the research because I haven't fact checked anything or go to the library. If it was something really, really important to me, I would fact check and go even deeper to the resources they give as research and things of that nature. But if it's just something that I don't need to go deep with, then whatever. But anyway, here we go. Me as a black American, this black American speak. So I went to, after listening to a live that was very heated, because there were Americans, they call themselves FBA, Foundational Black Americans, and there were Africans that were calling them pretendies and confused, and you're scared to claim your heritage by changing your name, things of that nature. And then it was like, I'm going to just say, yo mama this, yo mama that, you know, the dozens or whatever was being thrown out. But it wasn't saying your mama, but it was like a lot of cursing and fussing and carrying on. because they could not hold the conversation without control and manipulation. But anyway, after that, so I wrote here, I said, rewrite with research for a speech. Number one, to address the fact that when someone says Black Americans should not claim America as their culture because white prejudice or prejudiced Americans have killed them and murdered them and hated them for over 500 years. And then my thing is that isn't this the same thing when, or similar, when apartheid happens in Africa, where your own country does the same thing to you, but you did not, you fought for your own country, like you didn't turn against your own country because of that. And this is just to blindside people and continue to put people in a cult mindset. Again, I'm only giving the way I feel, my opinion, my perspective, my living, me. So, put people in a cult-like mindset, that Black Americans cannot speak and hold their own culture, that they have been living in for many years, as far as cooking the food, the clothes that they wear, and that they talk. But then other people, like Africans, can have their African store with their African products, whereas Jamaicans can have their Jamaican, West Indian food stores. That's where I would go to get my oxtails, peas, and rice, and on Linden Boulevard in Jamaica, New York, or get my curry chicken or curry shrimp if I want a good Jamaican dish, or like Haitians, finding the culture in the community that sells some real good Haitian food in Florida. And I put Dominicans and mention the fact, mention the fact that many Black Americans have at least 13% or more of Indian culture in them, and they were forced to not mention it, and they labeled the birth certificate race as Negro. This is how you know who you are, even though the hateful, evil individuals murdered most of them. We should not be forced into being called, and I'm not speaking for all people, I'm mainly speaking for myself, because I don't like it. But I just put the word we. Please do not get offended. Should not be forced to be called African American, to uplift the African culture and economy. The same thing is happening all over again, just like the Native Americans are different than us Black Americans, indigenous Indian descent. But when they were the ones provided with all the land for the casinos, the gas stations, and the stores. And here it's happening again, if we let it, with the African culture being mixed into the Black American Indian culture. They can take from us, once again, the way the natives did, and now they're calling us pretendees. And now the Africans are using that same word, pretendees. So that's how I came up with this here. And I'm going to read the ending of it. It says, here are some references. And they gave the references where you can look it up. One is called Culture and History. Then it's Apartheid and Self-Ownership. Another one is Indigenous Ancestry and Racial Classification. And the other one they gathered their research from is Economic Contrast with Native American Experience. And so what it has here, it says Cultural Identity and the Truth of Black American Heritage. And the opening thoughts are, when people claim that Black Americans should not see America as their culture, pointing to centuries of violence and bigotry, They are ignoring both the power and the resilience of Black American identity. This line of thinking, whether consciously or not, is meant to push people into a narrow, cult-like mindset. It tries to convince Black Americans that their rich, hard-earned culture cannot exist alongside the painful legacy of prejudice, a logic we must challenge, and not we, again, me, when it comes across my lap and into my face. Culture built through resilience. Black Americans have built a unique culture in America, despite deliberate attempts by slaveholders and institutions to erase their heritage. Black communities persisted by blending African spiritual traditions, language, food ways, music, and family structures with practical realities in the United States. This process was not passive. It was creolization, an active and creative force that shaped mainstream American culture as well. Black Americans have always contributed to the nation's art, social movement, cuisine, and even the cadence of its language. The American in Black Americans. To deny Black Americans the claim to an American identity because of historical atrocities is as illogical as denying South Africans their right to call their homeland their own after the horrors of apartheid. Apartheid in South Africa was a system of institutionalized racism that both targeted and marginalized Black South Africans within their own country. Yet, after apartheid's abolishment, those same communities did not forfeit the right to South African nationhood. They fought for it, reclaimed it, and now challenge its ongoing injustices from within. The same logic applies to Black Americans. Surviving systemic racism does not erase one's stake in the country. It strengthens it. So to say, why are you defending America and the prejudice America is a cult-like mindset. We are Americans. Born, not we. I am an American. Born and raised in America. The next one is the double standard on cultural ownership. It is crucial to point out a double standard. Other communities like Africans, Jamaicans, Haitians, Dominicans, Guyanese, Trinis are encouraged to celebrate their heritage openly. Immigrant or not. They run stores, markets, and cultural festivals filled with pride. Yet when Black Americans wish to honor barbecue, jazz, Southern cooking, urban fashion, or regional dialects born from their own history on this land, the claim is questioned. Why the double standard? Cultures made in America under duress or by creative adaptation are no less valid than those preserved by newcomers. We don't bother you, but you bother us. I don't get it. hidden and suppressed indigenous roots. Many Black Americans also have indigenous ancestry. Census and DNA data shows that while oral traditions report higher numbers, a significant proportion of Black families have some Native American heritage. About 5% with at least one great-grandparent of Native descent. For centuries, such ancestry was obscured or forcibly mislabeled. Birth certificates and legal records routinely listed people of mixed African and indigenous heritage as Negro, quote unquote Negro, erasing these connections for bureaucratic and social convenience. For Black Americans, forced erasure does not diminish their knowledge of self or the reality of their blended roots. No matter what you say, names matter. So does self-definition. There is power in choosing one's own identifiers. For decades, terms like Negro, terms like colored, or even African American have been imposed without community consent. Sometimes as a means to flatten complex identities or tie people to histories and geographics they may not fully share. To call oneself Black American or simply American is not just about semantics. It's about reclaiming agency and recognizing a story deeply embedded in the making of America. The trap of narrow identity politics. Attempting to divide Black Americans, to pit African culture, Native American rights, or Black American identity against each other serve only to fragment a community that has always survived through unity and shared experience. While Native Americans have received concessions like land for casinos and other businesses, this cannot be used to invalidate the unique experience or rightful claims of Black Americans to their own American-born culture or land. These are different stories with shared challenges, a truth that can empower all marginalized communities to demand recognition, not less of it. So to be a Black American is to be a builder of culture, a survivor of history, and a living testament to creativity and resistance. No act of violence, erasure, or imposed labels can erase this truth. Just as no apartheid can serve one's roots from their country, no amount of prejudice can invalidate Black Americans' claim to the culture they have created and lived for centuries in the United States. Their culture undeniably American. I respect and love the Africans that I have come in contact with, and they're just like any other race, religion, creed, economic status. The It's about personalities. It's about behavior. For you to try to control somebody's mind to only be like one way or the highway. There's more routes, avenues, streets. Again, American, Black American is who I am. I love and will continue to go to the African stores to get my African products, my African coffee. I will continue to go to the Jamaican stores to get my oxtails, peas and rice, my curry chicken, my curry shrimp, curry goat, Haitian, Guyanese, Trinidadian. Everybody has their own culture. But I can only imagine if I go to your culture and say, don't be proud of your Trinidadian culture. Don't be proud of your West Indian culture. Don't be proud of your African culture. Don't be proud of your, it makes no sense. But when we go out the house, into the street, that's where it really matters, when you have to protect yourself against those that are evil, wicked, hateful, murderous mindsets. And it's against, many of us look alike, some of us, can be identified as, it all falls under that black, right? But once we know who we are, that we know who we are. I know who I am. But I will stand up if it comes across my lap, if it's something that I can do in a safe manner. When it comes to injustice, when it comes to shooting somebody in the back and getting away with it because this is what they want to protect. It's called injustice. And when you come into a hospital, you can be of many different backgrounds, many different religions, Methodist, Baptist, Christian, Pentecostal, Muslim. When you come into the hospital and there's wrongdoing, if it comes across my lap, if there's something I can do in a safe manner where I feel safe, it falls under injustice. And at that point, you stand up for one another without beating the fuck out of one another.